It's the two dudes with the attitudes, let's go. On the Friday, you know what it is, man, they came to handle biz. Two dudes with attitudes, and they came to get it in. If you wanna hear it all, yeah, you in the right place. Going through the highs and lows at a pretty calm pace. This is where they talk to all elite, Dynamite and Rampage. All the other news on your timelines or your page. Shooting star press like it's mad side down. MWO, and yeah, they here to hold it down. Had to kick a rhyme just to tell you about the show. From the TikToks or the shorts, they will bring the smoke. And yeah, it's the dudes like it's Sean and it's Diesel. Live on the Twitch, YouTube for the review. Show them all the love on the platform you using. 5-star rating now. There is no excuses. Welcome back or welcome for the first show. Two dudes with the attitudes. Time to work, bro.
All right, the two dudes have arrived. Scissor me, Wolfpack. Let's go. It is Two Dudes with an Attitude Wrestling Podcast, AEW edition. As always, I'm the dude of Wrestle Talk, Mr. MWO, rocking my Anaheim Ducks stuff because we are the team to beat this year. And with me, as always, is the honorary dude, Orange Cassidy's stepbrother.
He wishes.
Mr. Shooting Star Press. What's going on?
We're doing this early today, man. We actually found time to do an AEW episode, not at prime time, which is good.
Yeah. And it's surprising too, because tomorrow's Veterans Day, technically, right? But we celebrate it today. So to everybody out there that listens and who doesn't listen, we both say thank you, for supporting this country, fighting for us. As always, if you have currently, in the past, everything. Without you guys, we wouldn't have this country. We wouldn't have what we have, and we wouldn't have this podcast. So thank you to everybody and the troops out there fighting. One of my closest friends still fights, still, supports in the Navy. So means a lot. Thank you, guys. Thank you
so much. Appreciate it.
All right. With that said, you ready? Let's honor them by having an awesome AEW show.
Go. Let's talk some positive stuff.
Let's talk. And you know what's so funny? So I try not to listen to a lot of wrestling podcasts because I feel like whenever you say something someone else says, then they're like, oh, you copied them or whatever else. And it's like, yeah, because people can't have the same opinion, right? So I stopped listening to Busted Open because me and Bully Ray are literally the same person. So I just feel like in my head, if I know truly I haven't listened, then you claim you copied. I didn't listen. But I do still listen to Freddie Prinze Jr.'s podcast. And I just listened to this week, and he was talking about how This Week in Wrestling was pointless and not good, and there was nothing that happened. And I was like, you know what? I actually thought WWE was solid, and I actually thought AEW was pretty good too. I know Collision ratings are like, what they do, like 500 or 600 this week again, or they just aren't. They're doing worse than NXT. But with that said, I still think it's good. And with that, I'm going to start off with go ahead.
Speaking of ratings, they're doing the Friday Night War next week too. So Collision's going to go head to head with SmackDown. So is
that 100%? That is, they are. It's not pre-recorded or.
I don't think so. Not that I know of. Everything I've read said it's going to be live from the Kia Forum for Collision.
Well, what about Rampage?
Rampage will air afterwards, so it'll be 8 to 11 Eastern.
They're both going to be live. They're just going to do back
no.
to back?
Rampage will be taped after Dynamite, but they'll just air it on Friday.
Got it.
Yeah, so it'll air. It'll be recorded after.
Yeah.
It'll air after Collision, but be recorded after Dynamite. As far as I understand, unless they change it, because Collision's going to get smoked by SmackDown. So
SmackDown does almost 3 million viewers a week. They're like by far the highest rated show. Yeah,
I'm curious to see what Tony Khan pulls out to see if he goes commercial free or overruns or brings out his stars again, puts a world title match on the line. I don't know. We'll see.
Maybe he'll have a huge announcement and tickets are on sale for the full gear. All right, you ready? Let's do this. It's funny because we're going into Rampage, and I want to Rampage once again. Good. They moved back from the storylines of purpose. Now they're just kind of like the filler for Collision, right? Like everything that happens on Rampage is what's building to Collision, which I do find weird because there's nothing worse than a one-day build in a story. But they're doing it. At least they're doing something with it. But I do have something bad. They have been hyping up a man, a certain Evil and guy, and people loved him when he came in. He's got to be top 5 still to this day merch sellers, right? Because they still make his
He's up there.
shirts. And this
Yeah.
guy, what we're talking about is Danhausen. And they have been hyping up Danhausen to make a return on Rampage for the past, 4 weeks. I brought him up a few weeks ago saying how I thought it was cool, little, TV vignette that they did. For whatever reason, he was supposed to come back on Friday. And I don't know how a show that's a filler for Collision couldn't squeeze in a match or a segment for somebody who probably could be a top 5, main attraction for this organization, and they could not fit him in to a Rampage, a Friday night. That's not like this was like a Dynamite before Full Gear, and they're like, all right, this was a Rampage before nothing, and they could not fill him in. And instead of just saying he ain't gonna make it or ignoring the fact, they had some guy doing an interview, and Danhausen just walked by and stopped and said, I will not be here. I'm delayed or whatever. I'll see you next week. And then walked away. And talk about a missed opportunity again. Like I said, my boy Patrick, he's all, tries to be Mr. Indie scene, like all our other AEW fans out there. And he was telling me all about Danhausen, about how when I saw him wrestle, I was going to be so amazed by his mic skills and this. And I haven't been amazed by anything. I don't think the guy's bad, but they just haven't used him correctly. All they've used him as a comedy act in a shirt, right? And so are to sell shirts. And what do they do now when they have an opportunity to bring him back, start him on Rampage, which is a good idea, your C show, build him up, maybe have him get wins on Rampage. You delay him once again. Why should I care about? Is this a miss, or am I like overthinking Danhausen and who cares? I just thought it was really like you couldn't squeeze him in, TK. Like there was no room on the page to squeeze in, somebody who's bigger than probably everybody but Daniel Garcia, who was on Rampage, correct? I mean,
yeah, especially if you've been hyping it up. I mean, people, I know that they record Rampage after Dynamite. It is pre-recorded, but I'm sure that whether we like him or not, Danhausen is a popular figure in AEW. He's one of the most popular wrestlers that they have. He's one of their biggest merch sellers. People like the guy. They think he's funny. He brings a different, unique attitude to AEW, a unique character to AEW, which they're lacking in characters at the moment, and he brings one. And so, yeah, I would be disappointed if I went there thinking, hey, I'm going to see Danhausen tonight, and instead you get a backstage segment with him saying he's delayed, and that's it. And after you've been hyping it up and hyping it up, I mean, it's like the big announcement from Tony Khan, right? It's just it's a constant letdown, and it's to the point where I almost don't care anymore when Danhausen comes on, and I hate that for him, and I hate it for the AEW fans who like Danhausen because this was a complete miss. Like, bring him back already. Stop toying with us and stop teasing us. Like this is getting ridiculous at this point.
And he's only going to have 5-minute matches. So what, like throw him in there and build him up again. And this isn't the first time they've done this with these like fake builds. So that's the other thing that drives me nuts, that they're known to kind of hype something up and not follow through with it. It's weird. Not saying WWE doesn't do it, but this was just a miss for me.
Yeah. Something that wasn't a miss for me though on Rampage. I want to talk about the Guns. The Guns, man, they're smoking. No pun intended right now. They are killing it at the moment. Guns. They are, they had a match, Austin and Colton Gunn against Christopher Daniels and Matt Sydal. And yeah, I mean, the match was fine. The Guns won pretty easily. And, they hit, I like their finisher that they hit, the 310 to Yuma. And they got the pin on Matt. And yeah, their promo afterwards was your typical Guns promo saying that Dynamite, MJF, that Dynamite belongs to the Bang Bang Gang, Collision belongs to the Bang Bang Gang, and now Rampage belongs to the Bang Bang Gang. Kind of reminds me of a little faction over in WWE who says that they run SmackDown, they run Raw, and they run NXT, a little group called the Judgment Day. And when they're clicking on all cylinders, they're one of the hottest acts. And I feel like the Guns and Bullet Club Gold. I know I've made fun of them before for their name, Bullet Club Gold. I thought that was like, what do you get for? You get credit card points for that. But I don't. Yeah, I'm digging what they're doing with Bullet Club Gold. And the Guns are killing it right now. They are. I wouldn't put it past them if they won the ROH tag team titles off of MJF. It would not surprise me whatsoever. And this time, I would actually be happy about it because out of the last time they won was against the Acclaimed. They took the belts off the Acclaimed after, like 3 or 4 weeks after the Acclaimed had won them, and it was like even fans were outraged at that. They were chanting, "This is bullshit. This is awful." And now, if the Guns won, I would not be mad because they are killing it. They deserve it. And I want to see what they can continue to do. But they are climbing up the ranks fast, and I'm loving them right now.
Yeah, and I know I'm all about the body. I know I talk about people's physiques a lot on this show, especially men's physiques. I talk about the women's too, but the men physiques. But not only have they just improved in their overall since they've joined, and are they even called the Bullet Club Gold anymore? Or are they just called the Bang Bang Gang? I don't even hear them call themselves Bullet Club Gold anymore. I think they like kind of are like, which is better. The Bang Bang Gang is a cool name, and it still represents the Bullet Club Gold, but it's like taking something from New Japan. I don't know, be original. But anyway, nonetheless, since they've joined, they've like hit the gym, both of them. Because remember, it was always like a skinny one and a chubby one. Now it's like a ripped one and a bulky one, like in a good way, right? It's like Homeboy slimmed out, the shorter one. He's buffer. Colton is a taller one, right? He is like what any man who wants to just be slim and buff would dream to have a body of. Him and Jay White are on like the same level, looking like Finn Balor over there. Like they're just looking good. The Bang Bang Club is just that everything the Guns have done since they've joined the Bang Bang Gang have like, it's just enhanced them immensely. Their finisher, their wrestling technique in the ring, their promo skills, their little circle thing, like you said, is better with the 4 of them. Even when they only had 3 and they had the cutout of Jay, it just looks better with all 4. There's no gap. They're all doing something stupid when they go by. It's just like, it is working. My only thing is, let's save this for later because you're going to talk about more of probably Jay White later on in this episode. But yes, the Guns are clicking, and this is another prime example of why I said I'm liking Rampage, because this is what you do, right? Don't just build into Collision every single time. This was a good little hype, giving the Guns a good win. You know what I mean? And building them to that ROH title match, which we'll talk about later, who MJF takes as a partner, they might win. So we'll see. A lot happened on Dynamite. But with that said, let's go into Collision. Are you ready? You want to know why? Because it's Saturday. They need to move Collision, by the way. But anyway, all right.
Big time.
So
Big time.
Collision, good for them. Good episode. I liked it. I thought it was a good episode. They're starting to try to build up a little bit. They also have a lot of like no-namers on here. But let's talk about something good. And I want to talk about everybody's favorite number, 69, dude. And if we didn't learn anything from Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, that's the one thing we learned. What number are you thinking about? 69, dude. I just aged myself.
But I love that movie.
The new one is good too, so not too much.
The new one's not terrible.
Like 4 years ago, so people should know it. But the Acclaimed celebrated their 69 days as Trios champions, and I have to give credit. I know I already give credit to the Acclaimed constantly, but I have to give credit to the Acclaimed for excuse me, for being able to come up with the dumbest ideas, the most immature ideas, things that I wouldn't think would still work in 2023 that worked in the Attitude Era, and making it successful. They had a scissoring day, which I was like, oh my gosh, they're going to do and it worked. It was hilarious. Mm-hmm. What did they do this time? They celebrate their 69 day, which I got to give props that it landed on this day. Like how the irony that it just happened to do that. But it landed on this day, and it was hilarious. It was a great. They talked. It was funny. The celebration. Badass Billy Gunn going off the cuff and saying stupid lines about how he's daddy and who wants to, how is he going to 69 everybody in the crowd, and then like handing the mic back. They're just having fun. I'm sure he's like, man, this is like DX days. It just works for them. And then they have MJF cut a promo like a thank you Max Caster, or Max Caster's like crying, and he's talking about how he doesn't hate them, he doesn't love them, but he's definitely starting to like them, and that yay scissoring. It's just everything like just worked. You had MJF. You had I don't know how they do it. I just feel like anybody else this would have flopped hugely. Like if this was done in WWE, it would not. If this was like The Miz or
Oh,
it
yeah.
would not have worked. The Acclaimed are just so damn good at taking the stupidest things and making them perfectly amazing. Now, with that said, I do like that they got a title match out of it too, and so they defended their titles. But what the heck was up with the Dalton Castle thing? He walks out. I like Dalton Castle. Don't get me wrong. I think he's hilarious. I like his gimmick. I like his vibe, his wrestling skills, his look. I'm digging it. But where has he been? Why did he just like and I'm going to go into a lot of random with this episode, but he just like walks down and doesn't say a word. Dalton Castle is like known for his promos, right? He can like cut some, just comes down, throws a trophy that looked like they got from the 99-cent store. It barely even broke. And then they fight. And then that threw me off. Other than that, everything else was pretty dynamite. But was that Dalton Castle thing weird to you, or did you dig him not saying anything? I was like, what? Why not say, like, why are you down there? Why are you here? And why do you deserve a title shot? And that was all weird to me. But other than that, I thought this was hilarious.
Yeah, I thought the segment was great. Up until the ending where, for whatever, like, what was the reasoning for crashing the party and destroying everything and then getting a match afterwards? I didn't understand that. That didn't make any sense. And there's no rhyme or reason as to why they did it. Now, if it was the Bullet Club Gold because they've been having beef with them recently, or they want to send a message to MJF or something, that would have made complete sense. But Dalton Castle and the boys, it's just, that was weird. That the whole thing, it's reminding me, Collision's reminding me a lot of NXT, where not in the sense of developmental, but just it's like its own universe compared to the WWE main roster. Because it's just like, oh yeah, we're feuding with MJF over here, but yeah, we're gonna randomly put these guys together and randomly put them over in this, and then the next week they'll be doing something completely different, and it's just, I don't understand why they had Dalton Castle do it. What's the story? And then like that's the thing is we don't see Dalton Castle again on Dynamite. We don't see him again on. Probably won't see him again forever. Yeah, we won't see him again at Full Gear. Like he was nowhere to be found. Like, I don't understand what the rhyme or reason behind this was. It was just, was it a good way to get the Acclaimed an easy victory? Sure. But did they need to have a match on this celebration? I didn't think so. I thought the segment was fine. And I love the message from MJF, especially because, Anthony Bowens and Billy Gunn have been kind of anti-MJF. And it's really been Max Caster that's been for him. And they got the fact that they got that for him as a special gift was a video from MJF. I thought that was great. Yeah, all of it was good up until the Dalton Castle thing. That just ruined it. And it just, it was not just randomness. They just need to change the name of the show to AEW Randomness on Saturday night, because that's what it is.
Saturday. Yeah, it is. And with that said, hopefully it didn't have anything to do with ROH either, that like you had to watch the ROH programming to get it, because they've done that in the past too. Because if you're going to do that, then you have to give us a video beforehand teaching us that, so we know.
Yeah,
we can't always assume everybody watches everything. WWE literally gives you what happened 4 minutes ago. A commercial break, they come back, they're like, this what happened. They always assume you did not watch. That's how you're supposed to do it. So but anyway, I digress. But 69 days, hilarious.
Let's go to something else that's a little random. And this is the Darby Allin versus Lance Archer match, which, speaking of somebody we haven't seen in a hot minute, is Lance Archer. Like, where the heck has he been? That guy, you talk about a missed opportunity. He's got a great look. He can, from everything I've heard, he's decent on the microphone. He can go in the ring, but yet he comes back and then he disappears, and then he's like the McRib. He'll come back for a little bit and then he'll just disappear and he's gone. Then he's back and then he's gone. But all of a sudden he comes back, and him and Darby Allin have a match. And you hyped this up. You hyped up the big return of the Murder Hawk Monster, Lance Archer, and you have him lose in his first match back, which okay, whatever. Like, it was a questionable win. It wasn't an easy win by any stretch. Darby Allin hit that destroyer off of the top rope, and then he scored the pinfall on Lance Archer. But then the randomness comes at the end, where yet again AEW Collision is AEW is known for its double booking. You don't hear from Christian Cage. We don't hear from Luchasaurus and Nick Wayne, who's been feuding with Darby Allin over the last few months. We don't hear from Sting. We don't hear from Edge. No, you know who we hear from? Jake the Snake Roberts. And he cuts a promo saying that, basically saying, you think I came to a fight with only one piece of artillery? Essentially talking about Lance Archer because he's his manager. No, I've got a couple more guys that you may have seen on the street. And out comes the Righteous, fresh off of their loss to one Maxwell Jacob Friedman at AEW All Out for the ROH Tag Team Championships. Himself, they're now being managed by Jake the Snake Roberts. And after that, they picked up and beat the heck out of Darby Allin. And yet again, you don't hear from Sting, no Adam Copeland, no nobody to come and save Darby Allin. So it's just complete randomness. It's its own universe. Whatever happens on Collision's not feeding over to what's happening on Dynamite. And yeah, AEW is notorious for double booking. That was the perfect opportunity to bring out Christian Cage afterwards, or even during the match, put them on commentary, hype up their thing with Full Gear. And they didn't even do that. They're using Darby Allin to, I guess, put over, if you will, the Righteous and Lance Archer. But why? And why is Jake the Snake Roberts managing? Like, I don't know. This just feels random. That's really all there is to it.
Christian Cage wasn't on AEW television at all, right?
No, he wasn't on Dynamite either.
Yeah, not have your best person not on your screen. First off, I want to talk about Darby Allin before we get really quick. Is that this dude's got what, like a year left in his career? Like this guy, like you're on good. Collision.
He's only like 25 too.
And you're taking bumps, like choke slams out of the ring, right onto the apron. Like you're just like get it together, Darby. It's not like it's like me. These are like professional wrestlers from the past, present, and future talk about Darby Allin. Like, stop. What? Like, even Jeff Hardy didn't do this stupid stuff. Like, he lands mostly on his upper back and neck. He doesn't even know how to land. It's like he has never been trained before. He just I think he just thinks like, oh, I'm durable, so it is what it is. But bro, that you don't get rich off being a wrestler. So you get rich off of being a wrestler for a long time. Like, think about that, Darby Allin. I don't want to see you in Santa Monica pretty soon. I have to put money in a cup because you're like homeless and broken and crazy because you've given up your whole career off of taking stupid. Like, there's no point for him to do any of this. Like, he can be who he wants to be and dumb it down a little bit. Like, save it for the pay-per-views. You know what I mean? Like, this guy just takes bumps constantly but nonetheless, Lance Archer, I don't get it. And here's my thing too. You're right. He is like the McRib, because every time I see Lance Archer, it's always like he returns. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? He's like a certain person we used to do a podcast with. Like, it's always the return, right? Always the return. Oh, never there. Just always the return, right? As long as you keep returning, people will think you're relevant, I guess. But and Jake's the Snake. I mean, I don't mind Jake. His promos are a little weird. The skateboard spot, it was like he didn't time it right. I don't know. I mean, poor dude suffered through drugs, alcoholism.
Yeah, like I'm willing to let that
God.
go.
Like, he's been through everything, but I don't mind it. But the Righteous coming out, snapping, acting like they're BA. And I thought the same, and they didn't bring that up. I thought the same exact thing. I said, y'all just got beat by one dude, and you're coming out like you're like somebody. And they didn't even get help. MJF just beat them clean. So I don't know. And if they continue it and they get a name, I'm good with it. But if they're not going to, then this was why did this hit my screen? I just don't get it. And isn't Darby wrestling Christian Cage? Or no?
Yeah,
is he not at Full Gear? Is he
it's
not?
A 6-man. It's Darby, Christian. It's Darby, Edge, and Sting versus Christian Cage, Luchasaurus, and Nick Wayne.
Okay, so what does this have to do with any of that?
Exactly. That's
Okay.
what I don't understand. Yeah.
So I used to be in my 20s. I wanted to make films and I used to write scripts. I've written a ton, made movies, this and that. And the one thing I learned is that I've said this a bunch of times, you do not put anything in your script or in your movie that is not relevant to the story. You don't just put random things. This is a perfect example. Wrestling is a story, it's a show, it's entertainment. You cannot put things in it just to put things in it. And I want to talk, let's just fade into my next one because we want to talk about random and just putting things in that have nothing to do with anything. Our man, Mark Briscoe, returned, right? This is a return to on Collision.
Yeah.
Dude, he's funny, I guess. He's like if you were like a comedian making fun of like Waterboy, this is who you would be. Like he looks like just like an over exaggerated water boy, like mama says that devils, it's just
The
like
devil is in the details.
Obviously I'm dating myself again, but kissing's football's the devil. But Briscoe's that guy, bless his heart, he lost his brother, this and that, but he wrestles and wins, cuts a promo later on, beats nobody, cuts a promo later on, and brings up Jay White. That Jay White is walking around with a title that's not his. So at Collision, or Dynamite, at Dynamite, he's going to challenge him to a match. Winner gets the #1 contendership. And that stuff is approved. What?
Yeah.
Why in the hell, would Jay White agree to that? You're just forced to sign contracts now? Why would Jay White agree to that? Why would TK think Mark Briscoe deserves that? What does this have to do with continuing any story? What, like, did you think Jay White was gonna, like, we were gonna have like Full Gear switched up to Daniel Garcia versus Mark Briscoe for the like? What are we like? Why are like you literally have 75 freaking people wanting to fight MJF right now? You couldn't throw one of them in there. You couldn't have Adam come out and challenge and then lose because of his neck. And they just wash it away and they can continue on his story and Jay White keeps going. You couldn't have Wardlow step in and maybe he gets too aggressive and gets disqualified by slamming him too. You could have done anything to build up. So if you really wanted Jay White to earn his shot at Full Gear, because he hasn't done it already by being the best damn person in AEW right now, you have Mark Briscoe challenge him on Dynamite. What in the hell was this? Was like the most stupidest. When this happened, I thought I like listened wrong. I was like, oh, maybe he's just like eating too many of those, alligators, and maybe he's a little punch drunk or something that he didn't like. No, this was real. I got accepted and they wrestled on Dynamite. Like, what? Am I like being mean or? So I trust me, WWE does some random shit, but this was like back to back, just randomness going on Collision.
Yeah, I like Mark Briscoe. I have no problem with him. And I feel like everything that's happened to him, his brother passing away, and it has to be tough for him. It can't be easy. All he knows is tag team wrestling. And all we as fans know him as a tag team wrestler. And so him coming on as a single star, it's just not vibing for me. It's not clicking. And even when after his brother died, he was doing matches with Jay Lethal and he was having things with Jeff Jarrett on screen and he was doing crazy spots. I think he did some stuff with like that whole Jeff Jarrett group. He was with the Hardys at the Hardy compound doing stuff there. And I just can't get into it. I can't get into Mark Briscoe. And now all of a sudden, he's another one who's gone away for a little bit. He comes back to little to no fanfare, little to no, hype or build or anything, and all of a sudden he gets a match against Jay White. And can we please, like, I hate these matches where it's like, well, I'm going to put the world title on the line, like MJF and Daniel Garcia, and like we all know the title match at Full Gear is going to be MJF versus Jay White. They've already signed the contract. They're hyping promos for it. They're doing everything they can to promote it. And so all of a sudden I know card subject to change. I get it. And that's the beauty of wrestling, but you really expect me to think it's going to be MJF versus Mark Briscoe at Full Gear? No. Or Daniel Garcia versus Mark Briscoe.
Daniel Garcia versus Mark Briscoe.
No. Yeah. Or Samoa Joe versus no. Like, Like, can we stop with these matches where, if I lose my title shot at the pay-per-view, or I get the title shot at the pay-per-view.
Mhm.
Like, no, it's too. If this was like 6 weeks ago and we were trying to build to it, sure. But the pay-per-view is
Yeah.
like 2 or 3 weeks away. We have plenty of build for it already. I'm actually excited. This might be one of the best built feuds that they have in AEW.
Mhm.
One of the best built pay-per-views builds for MJF and Jay White that they've done in a long time. And throwing in this little monkey wrench of, well, Jay White has to get through Mark Briscoe. It makes no sense. I don't understand why they do this.
Yeah, me neither. And well said. But we'll talk about that on Dynamite, right?
Yeah.
We'll go get all into it. And poor Mark Briscoe, because he's a great wrestler. He was good with his tag team. I don't know if he's a solo star, and I think TK's doing it because he feels like he owes it to him because the poor guy, what he went through. But I don't know. I think they need to team him up. I know he said he'll never tag team again, but I don't know. And they got to change his entrance. His brother's name is still on there, and it's just, I don't know. I don't know. Like, Brett moved on and, wrestled after Owen's passing, and it's just, you got to do what you have to do. It sucks, but
yeah,
big
time.
Yeah.
But for me, we'll end Collision, our Collision discussion, with something I think is pretty positive. And I want to talk about Swerve Strickland. This man, Rampage, we talked about the guns and how they're killing it. This man is absolutely on another level right now. He opened up AEW Collision against AR Fox, and Prince Nana came out, and but again, I give AEW credit because while this might feel like a random match, it's not, because they have their history together. AR Fox was supposed to team with Swerve, and then Swerve kicked him away out of the group before All In, and he ended up teaming with Christian Cage instead against Darby Allin and Sting, of all people. So this was like his way of getting revenge on him, and this was all good. And I like that AR Fox got some offense in, and he attacked Swerve as the show was coming onto the air. So like they started brawling onto the ramp. The match was great. Everything about it was fun. AR Fox can go. I like what they're doing with the Gates of Agony. I like that, that Ricky Starks and LFI got involved, and Big Bill. Like, this was a good way to open the show. And Swerve Strickland got the victory. And this man, I'm telling you, and we probably won't talk about it when we get to Dynamite, but he beat Penta on Dynamite too. He is killing it right now. And to me, like, you talk about LA Knight says he's the fastest rising superstar in SmackDown history. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. But I think Swerve Strickland might be one of the fastest rising stars in AEW. He is climbing up the ladder quickly, and he is absolutely killing it right now. He's on another level.
But here's my thing, because I love me some Swerve. I know I crap on his slogan because it's stupid, but I love me some Swerve.
Oh, yeah.
I might get that shirt when we go to the hour for whenever.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. We're not going to talk about him on Dynamite. Hangman Page put a whooping on him. Hangman Page is going to beat him in full gear. So what is that going to do for him? You know what I mean? That's my only problem with AEW is that, I mean, Swerve is so over. He lost to Bryan Danielson when their match happened, and then, for the title to go up against
Christian Cage. It was for the TNT Championship.
So right after he was on a roll after beat Hangman, and now he's coming back. He's beaten some people, but now he's probably going to lose to Hangman. Like, you really think Hangman's going to lose 2 straight? Like, it's just like, this is what I'm saying. Like, you have money in a bottle. Like, give him a title, give him something, give him a run. I just don't. He's so over. His song is over. Prince Nana's, they're all over. And it's like, I don't know. Because I agree with you. Swerve is top 3-4 best things going on in AEW right now, for sure.
Yeah. And I could see him they do a trilogy of matches between him and Adam Page, and he wins.
Okay. And if he wins it out,
he wins the war, but he doesn't win this battle, but he finally he wins the final war. I could see that. So I think Hangman Page is beating him, but I can see Swerve Strickland beating him again at like the winner is coming thing that they do on Dynamite or something, and then that's it. He moves on to other things. Maybe he goes after a championship, but he's got to do something because he's killing it.
I agree. All right, let's get into Dynamite. You ready?
Always.
Dynamite. Dynamite was packed. I just want to talk about a few things because I know we're not going to talk about them, but we're going to do some random, this is how good Dynamite was. I just want to bring up some things. Number one, Julia Hart, Girls of Future. She is super hot,
Mm-hmm.
super killing it, and she has improved so damn much. This girl, when her and homegirl were doing the splits with each other and their match, and afterwards in the vibe when Sky Blue came out, I mean, Julia Hart, give props. Maria May is All Elite. I have no idea who that is. I guess she's somebody. She looks hot. She looks like just some chick who's has assets and is attractive. I don't know. If you want to mention, you can bring it up. And then really quick, we had a Y2J and Kenny Omega versus a Young Bucks match confirmed at Full Gear, which I also thought was a little random. Look at Kenny Omega was like, don't want to do it. Now all of a sudden he's like, F you guys. I thought they were friends. I don't know. That segment went weird, but I just wanted to bring up those three quick things that had happened. Anything you want to mention on it before we get into our things? Just do a quick, because so much happened. I don't want to miss everything, but those were three things I knew we weren't going to talk about.
Yeah, and Dynamite was good. Dynamite was pretty solid for the most part. There's some questionable things which we'll get into, but I'm curious to see what happens with the Kenny Omega and Chris Jericho thing. That feels a lot like, and we've said this before, they're repeating the storyline of Adam Cole and MJF, and they're best friends, but can they be trusted? And now they're working together, and now they're going against their former best friends, and it's just, I don't understand what they're doing there. But yeah, I think we there's also other news in AEW too, that the Bunny is no longer under contract with AEW. She is gone from the company after 4 or 5 years she's been there since the beginning, and she's no longer there.
Day one,
a mutual parting of ways between them. So, but whoever this Mariah May is, that's coming on board, I've never heard of her. I don't know who she is. I'm sure people in the comments will tell us that, she's killing it on the indie scene somewhere or somebody, which is fine. But we're not encyclopedias, so we don't know. But whatever they can do to bolster the women's division, because AEW's women's division is kind of struggling at the moment.
Big time. And I'll tell you this much. I like what I saw. All right, let's get into it. You ready? MJ, she kind of popped on my screen. I was like, all right, MJF versus Daniel Garcia. That's what I want to open up with. They opened up with it. I want to open up with it. I know that you're going to have an opinion. I want to hear it. But here's my thing. I'm going to break it down quickly. I don't mind the challenge or the Garcia rub. I don't mind that. I don't mind the match. It was very good. I thought it was a very good match, as it should have been. I also don't mind MJF defending his belt constantly right now. I know I always said you got to feel important, like Roman Reigns, and I didn't like when other champ, like when Mox was doing it, but for some reason, Mox ain't MJF. That's to say it. MJF just on our screen more and more. He was on everything. Is working. He was on Rampage. He had a promo. He was on Collision. He was on Dynamite. You need that, right? All good. But what I do mind, out of all this, is a man who is defending a title that he does not have possession of, and that he's defending his title when like you already brought up, he's gonna face Jay White at Full Gear. So I don't mind what they're doing. They could do it differently, is what I'm trying to say. Like, what if, and me and you texted about this, Daniel Garcia won. What was he going to hold up? Nothing? Like, he was going to be like, I did it. Woo! And then, fake hold up the belt, do his dance with nothing. Was he going to have his Shawn Michaels moment and get on his knees and look at nothing and, be cry? Like, it was like, you're not going to, he doesn't even have the damn belt. You don't have anything to win. What were you going to win? And then secondly, really, you want us to believe in any way? And I know. Outcomes don't determine good match. But that's always been kind of the problem with AEW, right? Is that they care more about the matches than they do the story. And that's what kind of irked me about this. But as I said, I do like a lot about it. I just am so confused on the fact that you're trying to make us believe so, and we'll talk about my second, or what you'll talk about it too, the other one that happened with it. It's just like, come on, y'all. Like, I get it, but I don't. You know?
No, honestly, I hadn't thought about that until you pointed it out, and now it's like I just can't unsee it. Whenever I'm like, he's not gonna. What's he gonna hold up? What's he gonna win? Are they gonna say a new champion, and are they gonna drop confetti from what are they gonna do? Because there's no title. Does Jay White have to come out and drop to a knee and hand him the title? And like Rufio in the movie Hook.
Oh, dating us again. I love
he's like,
it.
"You are the Pan." It's just give him he gives Pan his sword back. I don't know, man. Like this, yeah. The match was great. MJF. I think the thing I like about MJF being on our screen and wrestling more and defending his title is because he went from never defending his title at all. Like he would only defend it at pay-per-views. When he was the scumbag and the heel, like he was contractually obligated to do it, so he would do it. But he never defended it. Now he's defending it all the time, and he's doing it in different ways. And he's doing handicap matches for the ROH tag team titles, and he's surviving 4-way matches, and he's coming out. He's wrestling Kenny Omega on Collision, and he's having matches with Daniel Garcia. Like and the matches that he's having are bangers after bangers too. So yeah, I want to see more MJF for sure.
Yeah, it's working. It's totally working. His run since Adam Cole got injured is better. I'm telling you. We talked about it before. But
yeah,
it's better. Yeah.
Yeah. But I want to talk about something that made absolutely zero sense whatsoever. And you talked about outcomes don't define stories. And this is an example of that. We had a match. Samoa Joe defending his ROH tag team his ROH television title, his ROH TV championship against Keith Lee.
Random
Match that was set up on Collision, I think, or Rampage, one of those shows where they had a backstage promo or they bumped into each other, and that automatically leads to a title match. And in today's modern world of professional wrestling, that seems to happen all the time. But man, the match was fine. Samoa Joe ended up submitting Keith Lee, and Keith Lee had a really nice move. He had that pop-up powerbomb at one point, but I never really ever thought, oh, he's going to lose this belt tonight. He's going to lose this belt. Keith Lee looked good. And then, he secured the win. The referee stopped the match. And then after the match, he cuts a promo saying that he's the greatest ROH television champion of all time, the longest reigning with 576 days or something like that. And he is relinquishing the title. and the reason why he's doing it is because he wants to go after MJF, and he wants to go after the AEW World Championship. So, okay, there are two things. Number one, why didn't you just have Keith Lee win that match? Take the belt off of Samoa Joe, have somebody like MJF cost Joe the title, or or just have Samoa Joe lose clean and build up Keith Lee, and then have Samoa Joe go on this complete tirade where he blames Max for losing that belt for some reason. And, boom.
Damn it, Max.
Yeah, there you go. There you go, right there. But no, they have Keith Lee lose, and then now lose the match for the title that Samoa Joe then relinquishes after the match. It made no sense whatsoever. Number two, why is he relinquishing the title? So he can go after the ROH, so he can go after the AEW World Championship. But wasn't he wrestling MJF as the ROH World TV champion, going after so why is he dropping like that? Those two things made no sense to me. Why is he dropping the title? And then if you knew he was going to drop the belt, why not just put the belt on Keith Lee? You build up a new champion. Tony Khan loves his title changes on random Wednesday nights. This would have been a perfect one. It would have given Keith Lee something to do, given Keith Lee something to have in his possession, and give him some airtime so we can see what he can really do. And then, but no, they squandered that opportunity. And then the whole explanation of I'm dropping this belt, even though I've already fought you for the title with this belt, but this is holding me back. So I'm going to come after your world. Like, I didn't get it. I don't understand it. This was really bad. I did not like it at all.
Yeah, it was a huge miss for me too. And it didn't bury Keith Lee, but it definitely made him look like an idiot. And the fact that, like, why put him in it if you weren't gonna? Here's the thing: Samoa Joe had the record going into that day, so he didn't have to defend it. So why didn't he just relinquish it, and then you have Keith Lee fight somebody for it, or like you said, have him lose? It was all just weird, bizarre, stupid. You can have the title and fight MJF still. They, like you said, here's my thing. I think what happened is that, like we said, AEW listens to our podcast, and I had just said last week that you need to get Samoa Joe off of ROH and off of the TV title, and TK said, "Yeah, that dude's right." Again, so that was the only way he knew how to
The
do
dudes
it.
bring it
Took
again.
it off
Yeah.
him. Yep. So that's why it happened, and it just, once again, the story, everything, it just made zero. I mean, Joe looks better with the title on him than he does without it. So I did like that Samoa Joe said that he wants a title around his shoulder, not around his waist. I like that because he never put no belt around his waist. So I did like that he touched that. Usually people say, I want that around my waist. He said around his shoulder. I thought that was a little nice touch by my man Samoa Joe. But once again, get in line, Joe. There's about 700 people ready to face MJF before you, with you. And speaking of random, here we go. Wardlow was the most over. Well, actually, Wardlow was a man, and he talked about it. So we cut a promo backstage with Wardlow, and he talked about everything that has happened to him and MJF. He was a tool to him, did what he had to do, was what he was told, was a pawn in his game. He was used forever, and he's sick of it. The only thing he didn't bring up, well, first let's just get into the fact that Wardlow, during all of this, and once he broke away from MJF, was legit the most over wrestler on the planet. Not just AEW, on the freaking, he had Goldberg type vibes. He was getting the Wardlow cheers. He was getting it was insane. And what they do with him? Absolutely freaking nothing. So what did they decide to do? Is have him come back, cut a promo about all the bad things MJF did to him, and leaving out the fact that he already had closure with MJF. He just basically said that everything he did to him is why he wants to get him back now. You got him back, fool. You had a match. You wrestled him. You squashed him. It's MJF, if I could believe, last singles loss. And it was a squash. A freaking squash. MJF got zero offense in, got his ass whipped in about a couple minutes. And what do you want to do now? Here's the thing. You already got the closure, so why are you bringing up closure? And secondly, MJF's a babyface now. None of that even makes sense anymore. That's how wrestling works, y'all. You can be a heel at one time, and when you're a babyface, everything is freaking forgotten. Kevin Owens might make a couple jokes about it here and there and bring up the past to get a laugh, but it is forgotten. That's how WWE, that's how AEW, that's how wrestling works. What the hell? You're having Wardlow come back and feud with MJF during a time that he shouldn't, because there's a line, and you're going to have him come back because he's mad about the heel things he did in the past that you already got his comeuppance for? Am I missing something, Shooties? Like, what the hell are we doing here? It was the dumbest thing. I was like, huh? Like, what? Yeah. I don't know. I was like in a loss of words. I had to bring it up.
I'm happy to have MJ or to have Wardlow back on TV. I think he's a huge asset to AEW, and he could be the face of the company if they treated him right. And
he was at one point, yeah.
Yeah. But this, like, when we last saw him, he was feuding with Christian Cage, and now all of a sudden he's coming back and he's going after MJF because of all the dastardly things that MJF has done. What about all the dastardly things Christian Cage has done? Don't you want closure on that? He took your TNT championship. Why don't you go after him? But this, again, we talk about randomness. This feels random. Where has Wardlow been? He's been on AEW TV for the last 3 or 4 weeks now, but before that he was gone for 3 or 4 months, and they haven't once really explained where he was. He was just off of television, and what was he doing when he was gone? What's happening? I don't know. Give us a reason to care, other than the fact that he wants to go after MJF for all the things that he did when he was a heel. Give us a reason to invest and make me believe that Wardlow is a credible threat to take the belt off of MJF. But right now, it's not clicking. It's not doing it for me.
Yeah, I agree. Super confusing.
Yeah. But for me, I want to talk the main event. We talked about Mark Briscoe and getting the title match, or the match with Jay White for the title shot, but for the belt, even though it's not for the title. But he had this main event match with Jay White. on the main event of Dynamite, and the match was fine. It was okay. Nothing really crazy happened. I still can't buy Jay or Mark Briscoe as a solo star. I can't get into it yet. But yeah, the crowd was into to Mark Briscoe all night long. So yeah, they had a really good match. They had a really fun, entertaining match. I like that Jay White got the win, but it didn't really hurt Mark Briscoe in any way. Because Mark Briscoe still looked strong even though he lost the match. So good on that. And then afterwards, we saw MJF come out and he hit. He attempts to grab his world championship from the grasp of Jay White. They fought. They had some. He failed, but he had a warning. He cut a promo on them, and all of a sudden the lights turned out, and we went to the backstage and we saw the Acclaimed getting their asses kicked by the 4 men, and we saw the guy in the person in the devil mask, and the one person throws, I think it was Anthony Bowens, through the glass window, which that was crazy. That was a crazy spot. And MJF, he showed that he really does have a heart because he felt really bad. And he ran up the ramp and ran to the backstage area where all those people were. Or first we saw the Devil Man show up on screen, and then the everything flashed away. And then MJF ran backstage, and everyone was gone except for the Acclaimed, and he was checking on them, making sure they were okay. And then he bumps into Samoa Joe one more time, and he says, "You need to find better friends." And then that's it. And
he laughed too.
And then he walks away. Yeah. So I thought this was a good way to end Dynamite. I really do. I think this was a solid way. They cannot screw this up. I cannot reiterate this enough. Tony Khan cannot mess this up. This reveal of whoever the man in the devil mask is has to be special, and it has to be amazing. And they cannot screw it up because they're actually telling a story, and Dynamite's ending on a cliffhanger. And I want to tune in next week to see what's going to happen. So kudos to them for doing this, because that's one of the things we've complained about with AEW in the past is a lack of storytelling and a lack of, reasons to watch for the next week. And here they are giving us a pretty compelling story with the devil mask and MJF. And yeah, I want to tune in next week to see what happens, but just don't screw it up. That's all I ask.
Yeah. My only thing, the match was good, by the way, but my only thing is that we already talked about the pointlessness of it. My only thing was that the devil, when first brought up, is what started the rivalry between MJF and Jay White. And it's because MJF was a devil and he's doing it and blah, blah, blah. And obviously now he's not. He's beating up everybody who MJF likes. And MJF's obviously he's not the devil. The devil was on the screen. And if you look at their body types, it's not. Obviously it's going to be Adam Cole, Adam, and all those dudes. I mean, it looks like that's pretty much. I mean, don't get it. I hate that.
There's rumors.
Once again, I hate the internet, right? And this is why I don't listen to rumors, but I heard it. Yep. I caught wind that they're saying it's CM Punk. And here's the thing that I hate about that, right? Is that now whoever it's really going to be, it's going to be not appreciated. Because now everyone's going to have their hopes up because, is it CM Punk? Yeah, he's back. And they're all going to be excited. And then he's going to take that mask off and it's going to be Adam Cole and people are going to freaking boo. Because they're going to be like, it should have been CM Punk. So it's like, once again, here's the internet ruining things. Just like when Cody Rhodes didn't premiere until WrestleMania and every Raw that he didn't come out, the fans were mad about. And people are like, dude, WWE has said nothing about Cody Rhodes. The internet has. So you're getting mad at something that shouldn't even happen.
Yeah.
It's like the same thing. This is what's going to happen with CM Punk. But nonetheless, it has to be Adam Cole in them, obviously. It's like, so that's like Adam Cole's body type. And all the other, it's just I don't know.
It makes sense. Like I saw something on social media a few weeks ago, or just this week, that said that a few weeks ago when Adam Cole and MJF were in person together, that's the time that we saw the devil actually beating up Jay White. He was backstage.
And he hasn't been around since.
And he hasn't been around. He's been on camera. He's been telling MJF to take the deal with Samoa Joe. And now, we never saw the devil beating up everybody. We just saw him backstage. He didn't beat anybody up. So, yeah, I will say, if it is CM Punk, I will never say another word about AEW storytelling ever again because they got me. They would have gotten me.
It's 0% chance.
It's not. It's
I'm telling
not.
you that
No.
right now. Punk's begging to go to WWE right now. There's 0% chance. And you know the other one because there's 4 dudes beating people up, right? You know the other one's Kyle O'Reilly, right? I mean, it's got to be O'Reilly, Adam, and then the 2 dudes, or maybe it's Maria. I don't know. But either way,
I heard one person's theory. I can't remember who it was. I'd shout him out, but said it's Britt Baker, and she's in the Devil Mask, and she's jealous of because MJF took Adam Cole away from her, and that's her best friend. Like that's kind of we haven't seen her on TV in a long time.
Either. We haven't.
So
I like to see her take it off. The mask, that is the mask.
Yeah.
But we'll see what happens. But you're right. It is good storytelling. I have appreciated it. I like what they're doing with it, and I mean, it's keeping me intrigued. But my one thing was the whole fact that it's like, dude, you can't like. That's like, shouldn't Jay White be like, my bad, here's your belt back? Because he took the belt and did everything because he thought that was MJF. It's obviously not MJF. Like, let's move on from that. So, but yeah, with that said, good stuff from AEW this week. Man, I liked it. I think wrestling's on point. Freddie Prinze Jr. So I think it is. Jeff Dye. I think it is good. I think wrestling's killing it right now, and I'm appreciative of it. But with that said, it's segment time. You ready?
Always.
And, school's almost on winter break, so it's report card time, my man. We are going to be grading some things. We'll go back and forth with me and Shooting Star Press. We'll give 2 things each, and we'll give them a grade of an A to an F. As always, Orange Cassidy's stepbrother gets to start off. What's up, Shooting Star? What you got for me? Let's hear it.
All right. Give it a grade. Let's grade. Speaking of Orange Cassidy, let's give his kind of newness, his new, more serious, more emotional character. How would you grade that?
A+.
So far.
A+. I don't even need you to finish. Orange Cassidy was already an A to me, but now you make him more serious. He's not getting beat up his entire matches and having to recover with he's not afraid of Mox, who's obviously bigger and badder than he is. He wants to defend the titles. He just admitted that he straight stole his spot and took that title on purpose because he wants Mox. I mean, the dude is like money right now.
He took his sunglasses off in his promo. And he was like, I have to beat you. Yeah, that's what I know. Yeah.
Sign me up, please. Full Gear. Thank you very much. Orange Cassidy all day, every day.
Yeah, definitely.
Same. You agree?
Yeah. No, I completely agree. Right. I think he's killing it. I like Orange. I liked him before, and I like him now. And I like this new serious edge that he has.
All right, let's start off. We'll go with what we just finished. The Devil Gimmick. What are you grading it? Devil Gimmick from beginning to now.
I'm gonna say B+. I liked it at first, and then they didn't do it for like 3 or 4 weeks, and I was like, okay, maybe was that like a one-off thing? They never talked about it, and then it randomly happened again on Collision, and then I feel like this week was the best one that they've done so far. With the Acclaimed and getting MJF involved backstage and showing that MJF does have a heart and was checking on his friends and throwing Anthony Bowens through a glass window. I thought all of that this one was the best one. Beating up Jay White in the Bullet Club Gold and throwing him downstairs, whatever. And then again, they didn't do it for 3 or 4 weeks afterwards, and it was just kind of felt like it was forgotten about. So I'm gonna say B+ because when they have done it, they've hit gold, but they just haven't done it enough. And I'm ready I am kind of ready for the reveal. They can't drag it out a little too much longer.
It'll probably reveal at Full Gear. I'm assuming after MJF wins. I give it about the same grade. My only thing is that it better be somebody who's already wanting to face MJF. We cannot have another person in line to face. We can't MJF can't be battling 9 different people before he goes to WWE. I mean, before 2024. All right. What you got, bro?
Adam Copeland. I think we did this on TikTok when we did our report card, but how would you grade Adam Copeland's promos in AEW, his matches in AEW, his first match and is being a 6-man tag match at Full Gear, his first official pay-per-view match back?
Is he still in AEW? I didn't see him this week. I don't know. Him and Christian have a planned family vacation. I don't know.
Jay,
I'll give
Uncle
it.
Jay.
Yeah, right. Uncle Jay. Let's say his real name. I'll give it a C. All of it. I think his matches have been meh. I think his promos have been really meh. His promos are worse than his matches. But I'm gonna give a C overall. Just I think they're doing Edge wrong. I'm hearing all this chatter from everyone that Drew McIntyre is 100% going to AEW. His friends have said it. He's done with WWE. This is just his way out. This and that. I don't know how Drew McIntyre in any way, shape, or form, no matter how unhappy he is with his booking in WWE, that he would think he will do better in AEW. This is all reminding me of the thing we were just talked about, that this week is a 26th anniversary or 25th anniversary of the Montreal Screwjob. Brett thought he was going to do better in WCW. How did that work out for him? That ruined his damn career. And not the fake Goldberg, ending his career stuff. The fact that he was booked incorrectly, they didn't know what to do with him. AEW does not know what to do with WWE talent. And AEW definitely doesn't know how to book big men. And Drew McIntyre is a big man. Don't do it, Drew. Adam Copeland's thing has been whack. And I'm so disappointed because him going to AEW with Christian Cage, it should already be money. But they have Christian Cage doing other things. Adam doing it. Now he's finally, like 2 weeks or a week ago, was like, I want that ass. I'm ready. Me and you, Christian Cage, it's this and that. And then we take a week off from it. Like, what the fudge? Like, what is happening? It's just TK
I thought
101, dude.
I thought for sure when he went there, it was going to give them a huge shot in the arm and a huge boost in momentum. And it hasn't. And hopefully they turn it around. But right now it's been a dud.
I agree. All right, here's one out of left field. You ready?
Yeah, bring it.
Chris Jericho's booking since he left the Jericho Appreciation Society.
I'm gonna say C+.
That's generous.
I feel like Jericho cannot be a single star in AEW. He has to be with somebody else. He's been, when he first joined, he was with the Inner Circle. Then he had the Pinnacle, and then he brought up not the Pinnacle, but he was in the Inner Circle. And then they turned on him, and MJF turned on him, and he started the Pinnacle. But they were kind of going at it, and then he had the Jericho Appreciation Society, and he's hardly ever been a single star. Now he's with Kenny Omega, which randomly thrown together tag team of guys that did not like each other previously. And, I like the fact that they're most likely going to put over Powerhouse Hobbs, I hope, in a big way. Because, he's that man's a beast, and he's a big man, and he's he's somebody that AEW could build around. And so I like the fact that they're going to use him to hopefully put him over. But adding Paul White to that match is just kind of a snooze fest. I
forgot about that.
Yeah, again, you brought him back last week, and
anything.
And you take a week off this week. Like, he was on Rampage, and he was like doing commentary. But other than that, we didn't see him at all. And it's just, like the Paul White thing, I'm not excited about. Him and Kenny Omega versus the Young Bucks, that doesn't really excite me. I'm going to say C+ with his booking since leaving the JAS.
Not a fan of the Golden Jets, huh?
Why are they fighting the Young Bucks when they've been beefing with, Sammy Guevara, the Don Callis family? You would think they would be going after them. Like, it makes no sense. Because
they, like you said, when you bump into each other, the
Young automatically
Bucks came in, they're like, "Oh, you guys are interviewing? Let's fight." I C+ is generous. I'd probably do more of a C- or a D. I think he just says like, I wish Patrick was listening right now, because he's just not doing his thing at all. Chris Jericho is this has been the worst, I think, moment of his career. You heard me, his 87-year career. I think this is his worst moments. I mean, what is he doing? What are him and Kenny Omega doing? I can give two craps about that. It's just all been bad. He should have joined Don Callis. It probably would have helped more. I don't know. And this is a huge miss for me. I don't know what the hell they're doing with him. And he seems to be getting worse and worse in shape. And it's just like he doesn't care. I don't know what's going on with Chris Jericho, but turn it around, my man. You got this. You're one of the greatest of all time. Keep it going. And on a high note, or wrestle till you're 80 and sign with AEW.
Yeah, which he's probably going to be there until he's 80.
Right.
All right, last one. You ready?
Oh, you're going to give me one more? All right.
Yeah, let's do one more. let's do. We'll end on a positive note. Christian Cage's TNT Championship run.
Oh man, A++. Are we going when Luchasaurus got it too? Because it's all been A++.
Sure.
I mean,
yeah.
I just said Chris Jericho in his 80-year tenure this is like the worst spot of his career moment. This right now, this is Christian Cage in his 75-year career. This is his greatest moment. And I'm a huge Christian Cage fan. You know that. I've always stated I like him more than Edge. This is the best Christian Cage has ever done, ever been in the ring, on the mic. His heelness. I'm telling you right now, he might go down as the greatest heel of all time. If you don't know what a heel is, look at my TikTok. I posted a video on it. I'm teaching you what an actual heel is. It's not Roman Reigns, y'all. Roman Reigns is not a heel. He's just a guy who's cocky and gets booed occasionally. Yeah. Exactly. He ain't a heel. Christian Cage is killing it, man. I mean, this dude is, A++++. That's why I just realized right now, I'm like, I wonder why nothing big happened. Like AEW was good this week, but nothing like awesome happened. And that was why, because Christian Cage wasn't on my damn screen. Got to be on my screen. I need to hear some mama jokes.
Yeah, we didn't see Paul White. We didn't see Christian Cage. It was a big week for MJF, but kind of a lull week for everybody else.
Yeah, that's what they do, man. They bring someone back and say some, and then they just kind of like
they're gone the next week.
Yeah, they're just says, all right, I'll give you one more since you gave me one more.
Sure.
Let's do MJF. Actually, let's do Orange Cassidy and Mox's feud.
I'm going to say A+. I'm digging it. Nice. I like it all. This feels, we talked about Orange Cassidy before, but this feels like the best of Orange Cassidy that we're getting, the best version of Orange Cassidy. And I've said it many a week that he needs a feud. He needs a program. That was the one thing that kind of limited his, he was a great international champion the first time around, but he would have a match with rando person this week and match with rando person next week, and he'd be in a 50,000 man battle royal at a pay-per-view. And then the next match, he's in a 6-man tag with Hook and whoever else. And, the best friends. And he just kind of went from thing to thing. He never really had a feud. And I feel like Moxley's the perfect adversary for him. I think Moxley's the perfect person to feud with. I like that Moxley has a win already over Orange Cassidy. So this is going to be personal. He's taken the title off of him before, and it gives us something to be interested in this feud with Orange Cassidy and Jon Moxley. So, yeah, I'm going to say A+. It's been good.
I agree with you, and it's funny because when they wrestled first, it was like a joke, right? Like, oh, Orange Cassidy, he hasn't wrestled. Now it feels like, oh shit, like Mox, you about to get your butt whooped. Yeah. Like, I think Orange Cassidy's going to take you, and it's going to be a trilogy. So. Oh, how the times have changed. I agree. This feud is money right now. Hook, is he part of the Best Friends? What is he? Is he in it?
I don't know, but apparently he's feuding with they brought him up in the promo. Moxley did.
Wheeler Yuta wants a piece. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah. Yeah. He was like, you decided you chose the wrong time to mess with the BCC or something like whatever they said this week. Yeah. So apparently Wheeler Yuta and Hook are going to be going at it. So,
well, at Full Gear, they'll have 57 matches.
So
everybody has to wrestle everyone has to wrestle. But all right, with that said, we'll go bye-bye now. That was a great episode of AEW. Great week of AEW. Everything worked. It was clicking. I'm feeling it. I'm excited for next week. And next week, we got good stuff going on. WWE and WWE is getting ready for their, pushing their Survivor Series and where we're going with that. And AEW is going to be pushing all gears for Full Gear. So with that said, as always, keep subscribing, keep tuning in, keep doing what you do. I'm the dude of Wrestle Talk, Mr. MWO, and with me as always is
Mr. Shooting Star Press. Go follow us here on YouTube. Go subscribe. Go follow us on TikTok at 2 Dudes with Attitudes, where we post exclusive content for you guys. We're pretty regularly. We'll probably get back on that next week. And download us on Apple, Spotify, anywhere you get your podcasts, and leave us some reviews because we're going to try to crack these algorithm codes, and the more love we get, the more boost we get in the world of algorithms. So help us out.
Yes, sir. Let's do it. Let's go. As always, thank you. 2 Dudes Wolfpack. We're out.
It's the 2 dudes with the attitudes. Let's go. On the Friday, you know what it is.